We are talking Tempus Tormentum, written and directed by James Rewucki, and this one is going to be released on the 17th of April 2018 by Tyhr Films. And this tells a story of a guy simply known as Mr. Mouse. And he's this drifter who ends up at this kind of small American town, just hoping to get a little bit of a rest, kind of a little bit of a respite. He ends up in this kind of like small rundown motel, decides he's going to go out to get something to eat at the local diner, and then is pursued by three seemingly psychotic masked maniacs. And these guys simply just want to torment and torture Mr. Mouse, putting it through a gambit of horrors. However, there seems to be there is some kind of larger conspiracy at work here in this town, or at least portions of the town may be involved in some type of cult ritual type situations. You'll have to watch the movie to find out. So let's discuss Tempus Tormentum. I've got to say, this movie reminds me of the kind of films we used to get in the kind of the late 70s and early 80s. It's definitely a kind of oppressive throwback to those kind of dark horror movies, dark psychological horror movies that we kind of had back then, and really is a psychological horror more than anything else. Now, Mr. Mouse is actually drugged when he is first kind of pursued by these guys, and therefore has all these kind of like weird visions and kind of you know, dreams and stuff. So you don't really know what is real as the character that doesn't, or whether things are actually happening, which kind of puts this extra added spin on it. And as much as he kind of tries to kind of fight through the effects of these drugs, obviously it is going to affect him. And he obviously is going around the town trying to find kind of people to help him. Are the townspeople in on it, or are some of them in on it? Some of them don't appear to be. You have to obviously watch the movie to find out. So it is definitely a very kind of like dark and disturbing kind of chase movie, really. So if you can imagine, if The Strangers was a chase movie, this would be it, ultimately. The Strangers, rather than invading a house, they're kind of chasing this guy all around the town. That's kind of how I would best describe it. So it definitely has this very kind of oppressive feel to it. It never really kind of lets up. So if you, if you're a fan of the kind of the horror comedy genre, then you might not want to go with this one. It's not a particularly graphic movie, but obviously it's pretty kind of much, obviously this guy just getting his sanity kind of stripped away as the kind of film progresses. There's also some fairly bizarre scenes in it that you never really know are actually kind of real and or kind of just imagined, because obviously this guy's being drugged, so you never really know if what you're seeing is simply a figment of his imagination or whether it's something that's happening. And trust me, it gets a little weird in places. Which is perhaps my biggest critique here, is that I feel it will turn some people off because it's so ambiguous about what's going on. I mean, there is I won't spoil it for you, but suffice to say there is a creature in this film, but you never know if it's actually real or not. And the ending is way ambiguous. I won't spoil it for you, but suffice to say that I feel some people it might leave scratching their heads. But I actually found it quite a fascinating film, simply because you're obviously deconstructing someone's kind of psyche and pulling back all these kind of like layers. And at its core, it is a kind of a chase movie with with kind of these masked kind of killers, and they do kill. There is a body count in this movie. And it is pretty brutal at times, but never explicitly so. I would say if you are a fan of movies like Hostel and stuff like this, this is going to be right in your wheelhouse. So if you like your Hostels, your Saw movies, then it's a different type of movie, but I would say it falls within that kind of same ballpark. So you probably definitely want to give it a check out. I really like the main actor as well. I had a look at his IMDb, and he hasn't done a whole lot, but I actually kind of like the guy, because he seems like a real an earnest character, if you know what I mean. He's just this drifter who really just wants to be left alone and kind of doesn't really want to, he's polite to kind of strangers, and just kind of seems like a regular guy, if you know what I mean. So I really liked his very kind of down-to-earth performance. I think the directing here was pretty good as well, because it does kind of build up this tension, that we have elements of kind of obviously this guy kind of like fighting back. He's a big guy, so you do feel like he has a kind of a fighting chance. Overall, although it's kind of I feel it will be confusing for some people because you never really know what's going on. That's really going to be my biggest critique over it. I mean, But other than that, I actually kind of enjoyed this film quite a lot, so I would definitely kind of recommend it for your kind of like psychological slash kind of torture porn type movies. So I'll give this film a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.